Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday already, and it is 27 degrees out there on this Thursday morning. Uh, it's going to be a high of around 33. Snow pretty much on and off all day. 7:11 is a sunrise, and 4:07 is a sunset. And after I get off the video here, I'm going to go outside and get in a quick shovel and exercise before work. Got quite a bit of snow in the driveway this morning. So we're in a study of Judges. We're in Judges chapter 3, and we're looking at the coming on of Othniel. Othniel being the first judge written about here. And, we looked at, and in verse 7, and the people did what was right in this, what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and they forgot the Lord and served the Baals and the Ashereth. Therefore, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So, when we do turn on God and we do worship idols, it's going to our God feels, okay. He it says, therefore the anger of the Lord was kindled. It sparked it up. Okay, when we do these things, it does grieve the spirit, right? It sparks something up in the Lord. And so then the people had to serve the king of Mesopotamia. All right. But when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for the people of Israel who saved them, Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. Okay. So Othniel was the nephew of Caleb. You also remember back in, I think it was chapter 1, uh, he he went in and conquered the people, and Caleb gave him his daughter in marriage. All right. Then it says, look, in verse 10, the Spirit of the Lord was upon him, and he judged Israel. He went out to war, and the Lord gave Cushan Rathmim, the king of Mesopotamia, into his hand, and he prevailed over Cushan Rashathaim. So the land had rest 40 years, and Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. Now, remember, we looked at in chapter 2 about being prepared for war, right? Being prepared for war. And having to know how to battle, okay? Having to know how to battle. And now look what happens. Um, the Spirit of the Lord was upon him. So who fights the battles for us? Okay, it is the Lord. It is the Lord. But we have to be in submission and fearing the Lord, in submission to the Lord and fearing the Lord. Then it says he went out. He went out to war. He took the battle to him. Okay, uh, family, we are not supposed to be always playing defense. Now, most of our spiritual armor is defensive, but one thing that's not defensive, the one piece, the sword, okay? The sword that is not defensive is the word of God, okay? It's the word of God. And so when we battle, right? It says um, he prevailed. Okay, that means we win. All right, we win when we take the battle to him in the name of the Lord. All right, in submission to the Lord. All right, in the Spirit. All right, we are going to prevail. I want to bring you over to First John, First John chapter 2, 13 and 14. Okay, because we are supposed to prevail. We are supposed to win this battle. Check this out. First John chapter 2, 13 and 14. First John's writing, and he says, I'm writing to you, this is verse 13, to fathers, because you know him who is from the beginning. I am, okay? So fathers, you know him who is from the beginning. Notice there's a generational thing here going on. I'm writing to you young men. All right. So the fathers are um, the elder statesmen, all right? Then the young men, because you have overcome the evil one. Young men, you have overcome the evil one. Okay? I write to you, children, because you know the Father. Now look how it's getting passed along, right? And you know God, then young men, you go out and conquer the evil one. Children, you know the Father. What happened in Israel back in Judges? When the older generation had passed on, they turned to idols. They weren't able to battle. They didn't know. They didn't know the Father. Now listen, verse 14. I write to you, fathers. So he repeats it because you know him who is from the beginning. Okay, this must be pretty important. He says it. He writes it back to back. Then he says, look what he says next. I write to you, young men, because you are strong. You are strong, and the word of God abides in you. And the word of God abides in you. It remains in you. You never lose it. It stays. It remains. And then it says, because you are strong and the word of God abides in you, and you have overcome the evil one. You have overcome, you have taken it from, you have overcome him to where he can't take anymore, right? Like we can we defeat him, we overcome. We overcome. Revelation chapter 2 and 3 talks about overcomers. Check that out. Look at the promises for the overcomer. Okay. Romans 8:37. We're to be more than conquerors. More than conquerors. We don't just sit back and get whooped up on all the time. Now, I'm not saying you go out there and start talking that smack to the devil and thinking you're going to rebuke him and all that stuff. You're just going to invite that stuff in. You're going to invite that stuff in. You got to know how to rightly divide the word. Okay, you got to know how to rightly divide the word. You got to know how to use it. The word is the weapon. The rest of the spiritual armor, right? Protects your chest, protects your head, right? Protect your mind, protect your heart, right? Your feet are shod, okay? The belt, gird your loins, right? This is for protection. It's defensive. You got to know how to sling the sword. You got to be in the Word every day. You got to be in the Word every day. If you're not in the Word every day, and you go out there talking about, yeah, I'm Christian, and I rebuke you, and by the authority of Jesus. You start doing that, you're just gonna invite Satan to take. It's not gonna be good. All right, not gonna be good. All right. So, and his hand prevailed against over Kashan Rashahathim. So the land of Israel had rest 40 years. Then Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died. Now look what happens. And in verse 12, and the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. Come on, man. So let this be a warning. Let this be a warning. The role that the fathers and grandfathers and the elder statesmen have. Titus talks about how the old men are to teach the young men, and the older women are to teach the younger women. This is important, because if we don't, we're gonna have a generation that does not know the Lord from us, and then they're gonna have to get basically beat into submission by the Lord to see Him. Okay, they're gonna have to be tested. They're gonna have to be tested. Okay, so sharpen your swords. Sharpen your swords so that you can go out and overtake, so that you can go out and prevail, so that you can go out and overcome the enemy. That you're not just getting beat up on all the time. Okay? I know it seems like that we're always getting beat up on, but if we didn't have the ability to overtake him and prevail against him and overcome him, okay, that just shows you failed the test, right? That just shows you failed the test. When you are able to overcome them, you pass the test. You pass the test.